Hi everyone, welcome to this week. This week we're going to continue our look at demonstratives. You might remember those from previous weeks. We'll introduce two new ones, hic and ille. Alright, so you might remember this pronoun chart from when we learned first and second person pronouns. Okay, these are of course those, and in Latin, right, we're talking about ego and tu, right, nos and vos. You might remember as well that when we learned these, we talked about that there is no sort of strictly speaking third-person pronoun. That third-person pronouns in Latin are essentially what are called demonstratives, words meaning this or that are adjectives, and they're used without a noun and their gender to indicate a pronoun. So, for instance, there we go. So you might remember ille. Right, we learned that as a third-person pronoun, and again, ille means this or that. But when used without a noun, so just is, right, that's going to mean this man understood. Is going to mean this woman understood, and so that's how we get he and she, or in the accusative, say him and her from that. So we're going to learn another one. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Here is ille, just by way of review. All right, and you can see a lot of what I just talked about over here, right, used without a nounify. All right, if you want to practice ille, kind of get back used to ille, choose the correct form to agree with the noun at left. All right, remember that we're finding the gender number case, all right, of the noun, then finding the gender number case of the demonstrative to agree with it. All right, so eis for number one, and since this is review, I'll just do one. All right, so here is hic, and as I said, this is one of the new ones that we're learning. So hic and ille are the new ones that we're learning this week. The good news is, as we've talked about, starting here-ish, your endings are going to be relatively familiar. All right, so especially in the plural, if you look, e, orm, is, os, is, I, arm, is, as, is. All right, orm, is. Now the neuter's a little funky, as it often is, so that's a bit of an exception, but again, most of these endings are going to be familiar, and even with the unfamiliar forms, it is going to follow that pattern with the ius and the ius in the genitive and I in the dative. Now the C, and you see that in hic, haec, hoc, and some of the other forms as well, the C is essentially, there we go. CE is essentially an intensifying ending in old Latin. Most of that has dropped out. Certainly the E has dropped out as the language evolved. The C remains in some forms, but not all forms. So really, in those forms with the C, you're looking at what comes before the C as the indicator of the case and number and gender. So for instance, hunk, right? Kind of take off the C, and then that HUM, which of course the M changes to an N before the C. And that's your familiar UM. Same with the feminine, right? AM, and then the neuter, of course, is just the same as the nominative. Okay, so, excuse me, you have to know those forms, but you're really just learning what the word means with that H stem plus endings that are pretty familiar. And again, hic is going to mean this. And to think about it more conceptually, it's sort of the closer of two things, right? I want this one closer to me rather than that one farther from me, and that is going to be a different word. In fact, that is going to be ille. All right, so very similar with hic. All right, again, starting here, things are going to be pretty familiar. No intensifying ending in Old Latin for ille, so the endings look even more familiar. Okay, o, and then e, orm, is, os, is. All right, I, arm, is, as, is. Neuter, of course, funky, o, orm, is, is. And even the neuter for ille is going to be familiar with that a ending. All right, and again, same thing, ius in the genitive, I in the dative, so somewhat irregular, but a kind of familiar irregular or a consistent irregularity as we've seen it with other forms. So the stem for ille is obviously ill, and then you add your ending. So again, not a lot of new endings to learn, just sort of a new word to learn, and ille, as I said, is going to mean that. All right, so the farther of two things. All right, so here is some practice. So again, similar to the previous one, we're going to choose the correct form to agree with the noun at left. Since we did Montibus in the last one, let's skip to number 2 and do periculum. Periculum is neuter, singular, nominative, or accusative, which again will always be the same with neuters. Watch out for this form, that long O over the, or that long mark over the O, makes that a long O, whereas this one, the lack of a long mark makes it a short O. The long O is ablative, so that one is not going to be correct. This, of course, is accusative masculine, so that is not going to be correct. It is going to be hoc with the short O as the correct answer. All right, we'll do number 3. So this is dative singular. Watch out for this one because this is a third declension noun. So because it is third declension, that I is dative. All right, Ilius is genitive. Can't be that. Ille is dative, but can also be nominative plural, so let's just check. Ille, all right, is nominative plural only. Now watch out for ille, because of course in regular endings that ae could be dative singular as well, but for ille, illa, illud, that dative singular has to be ille, right? That's that sort of funky irregularity, so it can't be that, and ille is the correct answer. All right, let's skip to number 5. Carmina is neuter, plural, and again, nominative and accusative, because that will always be the same. Excuse me. All right, illo is ablative singular. Can't be that. Hike can be a number of things, one of which is neuter, plural. Let's just make sure. Ao, that long mark, is ablative singular, so it can't be that. So hike is the correct answer. And that neuter, plural, nominative, and accusative for hic, hike, hoc is a little funky because it is that ae ending, which can also be some feminine form. So just watch out for that. All right, so similar, but now we are generating the forms instead of them being given to us. All right. So hic, hike, hoc, chylum is neuter, singular, nominative, and accusative. All right, and that is going to be hoc for hic, hike, hoc, and illud for lay, illa, illud. So wherebo, not in the ablative, right? That wherebo, that O can be either dative or ablative. So not ablative means it's going to be dative. All right, so dative for hic, hike, hoc is weak, and for lay, illa, illud is ille. And that dative singular as well as the genitive singular is one of those funky forms just to watch out for. And then number 3, poeta is ablative, singular with that long A. But remember that poeta is one of those masculine nouns of the first declension. So masculine, ablative, singular. And so that's going to be hoc for hic, hike, hoc, and illo for lay, illa, illud. The trap there, of course, is to use the feminine forms of hic, hike, hoc, right? So it's not hoc, because that would be feminine, and poeta is masculine. So watch out for that. All right, here are some examples. This is from the University of Liverpool. All right, so here is our hic, hike, hoc form, and that is actually going to be the neuter nominative plural. It's going to agree with otia. All right, so these leisures, these pursuits, otia is like stuff you do in your free time. These pursuits, all right, nourish, foent, right, that's our verb over here. These pursuits nourish learning, studia, studies, right, something like that. But the important thing for us is that hike, otia, right, they agree. Hike is that neuter, nominative, accusative, plural. All right, and of course it means in the plural, these, in the singular, this. So these pursuits nourish studies or learning. All right, this is Holy Cross, a college in Worcester, actually where I live, Worcester, Massachusetts. All right, so in hoc signo vinces. All right, so hoc is that ablative, and it's going to agree with signo. So in this sign, or under this sign, you will conquer, right? So that E, and we learned this last week or the week before, that E is the future of a third conjugation verb. So in this sign, you will conquer. And this is supposedly, if you know your sort of Roman history and or Catholic history, this is supposedly part of the vision that the Emperor Constantine saw before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. Basically, he was given sort of this vision of a cross and this Latin saying underneath it, and he vowed that if he won the battle, he would convert Rome to Christianity. And he did win the battle, and so he is credited with converting the empire to Christianity. All right, I feel like Constantine's wrong. I'll have to check that. It popped into my head, but now I feel like I misspoke. Anyway. All right. So here is a reading, all right, with some pronouns of various sorts. All right, so just something to practice translating. I'll do a little bit for you, and then I'll let you do the rest. All right, so olim is once. All right, you can see it down here, I guess, for a while now. So for a while now, mitis, that's our verb. All right, and of course, known goes with it. Excuse me. For a while now, you haven't sent me letters. All right, so for a while now, you haven't sent me letters. All right. It's nothing. Es nihil, you say. Excuse me. So it's nothing, you say. All right. That I can write. So there's nothing that I can write. So in other words, like, hey, why haven't you written to me? Well, I got nothing to say. All right. And then he sort of says, but, I guess I'm going above, but, right, this, or, if everything's okay, everything's okay. I'm doing well, right? So essentially, like, small talk is fine, right? Keep it tiny, keep it insignificant. I'd rather you write sort of nothing than not write at all. All right? Hoc mihi sufficit. This is sufficient for me. I'll take it. All right? And then I will let you do the rest. All right. Another little reading. All right. Plautus, we've seen. He wrote comedies, kind of amusing plays. All right. This is, yeah, okay. So, I'll go below this time. Tu servus es aut liber. You are a servant or you are free. Are you a servant or are you free? Right now, I'm a servant. All right. Are you, right, with that Macedonian soldier, are you his servant? I am. All right, and I'll let you take the rest. All right. All right, and these are the summatives. All right, so 9b, right, this is the writing. All right, now we're translating into from English into Latin. Sorry about that. All right, I'll do a couple, and then I'll leave the rest for you. So you in the plural are Romans, but I am not. So remember that the you plural is wo. Oh, let me make it red so it's a little more visible. The you is vos. All right, vos Romani sunt. Sed non sum. All right, so you all are Romans, but I am not. Remember, the I is in that sum, right? So the sum is the first person singular, so that's where we get the I from. So we were not able to see their tears, all right? So nos, and remember, the pronouns are optional. I am using them kind of just for convenience sake. So nos lacrymas videre non, I'm running out of room here, possumus. All right, so we, also in the sumus here, yeah, so we are not able, right, non possumus, to see their tears. All right, and if you want to put the there in there, that would be aorm. All right, the tears of them. All right, now we'll leave the right. Now, I think I made a mistake. I apologize. The summators were before this slide, so just kind of forget this. There we go. And I think that I've already done the summatives. Apologize. I did make a mistake. Forget this. Yeah, and actually, yeah, and forget this. Yeah, okay. And forget forget that. All right, my fault. But you got the summoners before the summoner side, and that's the important part. All right, that is it for this week, and I will be here next week. Thanks a lot. Email me if you have any questions.